Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where it is you are tuned in from. Welcome to today's webcast, where we'll be discussing AI in the future of work. I'm Dan Turchin, PeopleReign CEO. PeopleReign is the world's most intelligent virtual agent for IT and HR employee service. Thanks to our partner, Thirdera, for sponsoring the event. Now, we've been around about 5 years, and our team's life passion is making humans better with AI. I've personally been in this space for more than 23 years, and I can confidently say there's never been a better time to be having this conversation. I've got 3 modest objectives for the next 30 minutes. 1, I want to show you how AI is making work better for the next billion employees. 2, I want to share some actionable tips that will help you lead your organization's first AI initiative. And 3, I want to help you understand how AI is used to make humans better. Like I said, modest objectives. Let's go ahead and get started. Organizations that invest in better employee experiences deliver dramatically better business outcomes. That should come as no surprise. Our customers report that using PeopleReign, they reduce ticket volume by about 65%. They reduce their MTTR by about 45%. Their cost per ticket plummets with autonomous call deflection, down from an average of about $22 to about $3. Before AI-driven automation, as many of you know, a good year for a CIO might have been reducing call volume by, say, 5 to 7%. Well, that's changing. Now gains of 60% plus in 6 months are achievable. And what's most important is those gains are achieved by improving self-service adoption, what we call shifting left, and improving customer satisfaction. PeopleReign is an AI platform that wraps a layer of intelligence horizontally around traditional support processes. We provide 4 independent AI-driven applications that automate routine tasks like password resets, application access, distribution list management, PTO requests, reimbursement, employee benefits. AI is used across the lifecycle of service requests. It helps employees with request management, but it also helps live agents diagnose and resolve problems. And it helps service owners learn about trending topics to prevent service degradation before users are impacted. Now, sometimes the virtual agent's not capable of resolving the employee's issue. When that's the case, PeopleReign escalates the request to the best live agent by handing off with context. That context is so important. Live agents use a PeopleReign app called Recommend, which displays the next best actions to take in the context of the ServiceNow ticket or case. Managers use the PeopleReign app called Insights to understand what topics are trending and proactively make decisions to restore service. The PeopleReign AI platform continuously learns. It's always getting smarter by combining kind of the best of machine intelligence with the best human insights. Now, in a few minutes, I'm going to demo all 4 of these PeopleReign apps live. This may all seem like science fiction, but organizations like some of the ones you see on here, McDonald's, Adidas, the Veterans Administration, they're using it today to help employees love work. Now, in the next 18 months, about 80% of global CIOs say they intend to invest in a system of intelligence to complement traditional systems of record. The future of work is AI that is ambient. Think smart buildings and smart services and immediate delivery and consumption of facts. Think about more efficient meetings. Imagine a world where you can accomplish the same volume of work in an hour less per day. What are you going to do with that hour you get back? How are you going to become a better parent, a better spouse, colleague, a better human? That's my challenge to you. That's what's up ahead. That's the future of work. That's the kind of benefit you're going to see when you start to invest in AI-driven automation. Before that live demo that I teased, I'd like to introduce my friend and new PeopleReign partner, Wojahn, Thirdera CEO. He's going to share his perspectives on the future of work. Now, Jason's modest, but I'll toot his horn for him. Jason's a bit of a celebrity in our space, having led large teams for many years and inspired hundreds of customers along their service management journey. He's been at IBM Global Services, Navigus, and Cloud Sherpas before their acquisition by Accenture. We're lucky to have Jason today. Jason, why don't you describe the founding vision of Thirdera?
Thanks, Dan. That was a nice introduction. I really appreciate that. Founding vision of Thirdera. It's a domain name, as you know, that I registered a little bit ago. And it was really kind of riffing on this notion that we're in the third era of technology. First era is of course mainframe, second era distributed systems, third era cloud. IT is in its third era. First era was about making data digital. The second era was about making that now digital data rational. And the third era is about making that digital, now rational data intelligent. And as you know, I've been in the ServiceNow ecosystem for quite some time, going on my 12th year. Was responsible for a company called Navigus back in 2009, 2010, where we were one of the first ServiceNow partners in the ecosystem. That company being acquired by Cloud Sherpas, president of the ServiceNow business unit at Cloud Sherpas, which then, of course, acquired by Accenture. And if you look at it, it's a kind of time for a third era of partner in the ServiceNow ecosystem. As I think back about those last 10 years, the first, aspects of that journey was about cloud skills. It was about, trying to establish ServiceNow skills and credibility through those skills. The second era was really about establishing scale and increasing the aperture of those skills with scale. And I really look at the third era as one of cloud value. And so as at Thirdera, our focus is really making sure that our customers get focused and significant value out of the ServiceNow platform. We do that as a pure play partner. We are focused and dedicated to ServiceNow, and are very excited to work with emergent and people that are really pioneering value and the next generation of technologies. And there's just no question PeopleReign is, and Dan, you've been a part of that for a long time. So we were really excited to get the chance to collaborate with you and take some of the great things that you're doing in a very emergent space and take our value proposition with the ServiceNow and bring those things together.
You inspired me when we first started scheming about this partnership, about some of the future of initiatives, is what you've called them, that Thirdera has planned. Talk about how that fits into the partnership announcement that we're making today.
Yeah, so you guys are right in the center of our futures of business unit. And that's kind of how we're thinking about it. We think of ServiceNow as we need to have great foundational, broad and comprehensive skills in the ServiceNow platform. And of course we have that, but our focus as well is to go to those very difficult areas in more of a BU-based approach, those emergent skills. In the case of AI, RPA, ML, data science, kind of those futures of skills, and to try to make them right-sized, realistic, and rational for customers. And as you know, you've been very successful at bringing real AI initiatives to bear in a practical way with very significant tangible business value in relatively commoditized spaces that have been trying to eke efficiencies out, and the kinds of work that you've been able to achieve in call centers and those types of work in the AI technology is just incredible. I mean, if you tell somebody that you're able to save 30 seconds on the call, that's massive, right? And the kinds of efficiencies that you guys are on the precipice of bringing to customers in real, tangible, action-oriented projects that don't take years to address, but are focused and really practical and pragmatic on that rationalization. Well, I mean, for us, that was very clear alignment to our business value as well. So let's go to the hard things and to make them accessible, because as a partner to our clients, that's the one of the most effective spaces we can be. And if we really want to be this ambitional next era of partner, then we certainly need to occupy a space there with weight and credibility. And again, as we looked through the ecosystems, we saw where really interesting emergent technology projects were taking place within the context of AI. We just coming back to PeopleReign and was really pleased that we'd be able to establish that partnership with you.
I shared up at the top of the webcast my 3 objectives, and one of them was helping everyone in today's webcast understand our perspectives on the future of work. You've heard a little bit about it from me. Let's hear about it from you. What do you think is up ahead for the next billion employees?
Well, I tell you, it gets pretty exciting hearing you talking about using technology as a catalyst to improving people's lives. And I think we really, well, that sounds, a bit flowery. I think it's really true. I mean, we need to think of ourselves as humans plus machines in this case, not being replaced by machines. Human is at the center of that design when you really think about it, and the machines are there to support. And as you look at, the rise of these emergent technologies, one of the things that I really appreciate about a platform like ServiceNow is it gives us a very unique and very rich place to bring those technologies together in meaningful and impactful ways to our clients in the context of workflow. And if you subscribe to the notion that all companies are digital companies or going digital, depending on where they are in that journey, then those IT processes, those IT disciplines are critical across the enterprise. And so I think solving this problem kind of through ServiceNow, if you will, is a very reasonable work pattern to suggest that that's the way to kind of emerge in solving these real workflow problems across customers and improving the way they work, improving the experience of work. And bringing together some of these technologies that are emergent that seem really hard and seem really austere. I mean, if you read about AI, you get really nervous really fast, right? But everything you read isn't necessarily aligned to what is really possible. And in fact, I think a lot of people get distracted with stories that sound very austere or overly complicated. It can be hard to kind of put your hands on it. And so for us, that's what we're all about. We're all about trying to meet our customers where they're at, help them envision a better destination, help them continually improve on that, adopt more modern ways of working, help be that catalyst to bring workflow, the ServiceNow platform, and these other technologies together in a meaningful way that solves real and tangible business problems for them, or improves their experiences with technologies. And as I think about the future of work and the future of technology partnerships, it's about staying very agile in that process. It's about deprecating things that no longer serve you. It's about consuming and bringing in things that can add measurable value and tangible value, but also can be measured in aspects of time. So you're not having to think about, this is a 10-year effort. We should be talking about a 10-month effort or a 10-week effort because that's the pace and the speed at which technology is moving. And then you put some of these emergent technologies, data is always compounding. The rise of bots, chatbots, and AI capabilities and those types of things are only going to make that compounding more efficient. And that challenge or that opportunity, depending on which way you look at it, is really where modern technology partners need to sit, is this constant rationalization, this constant reinvention, this constant consumption of moving through technology and using technology to the best degree. So I think the future of work is very bright. But I think, for us, it's within the context of a core platform. It's within the context of your data map. It's with contextual data and information tied to workflow. And it's bringing technologies together to help customers achieve more with technology. And now's the time to be demanding, is as far as a person who is in technology goes. You've got more technology available to you than you ever had. And it can kind of make you a little tone deaf. You can miss signals from noise. And good partners help you find the signals and help you focus in on the signals and help you achieve a really good time to value for that. And so I look at it as this constant, it's almost like the renaissance of technology that we're in right now, because so many different things are emerging. It's really time to be very focused. It's time to really be demanding of the value you get out of the things that you invest your time and your resources in, and to understand that, most modern day business problems have technology opportunities or technology challenges associated with them.
You've heard me say the A in AI today is augmenting intelligence. There's nothing artificial about it. And it's incumbent on all of us as technology leaders to understand how that augmentation of human intelligence can best be shared across our enterprises. And Jason, great to have you. I think if you're okay with it, I'm going to cut over and go through a live demo. Let's see what the future of work looks like in practice. So I'm going to show you the future of work from the perspective of 3 different personas. So first, we're here in a ServiceNow self-service portal. We've got our traditional service catalog. We've got our knowledge base. We've got ticket management. But now we're going to interact with this service portal conversationally. And so as an employee, I'm going to go ahead and say, let's interact with the virtual agent. And let's see what the world's smartest IT and HR virtual agent can do for us. So again, I'm an employee. I need some stuff. I need to order stuff. I have tickets. I have problems. And ideally, I'd like to be able to manage my daily issues in the most frictionless way possible. So let's say I have a typical issue of my phone needs to go away because they're upgrading my network to 5G, need to order a new phone. So let's see if the virtual agent understands that one. So spot on, better than the best experience I would have submitting a ticket or, calling the help desk. In this case, it understands who I am. It's kind of like this is concierge service. So I ask a simple question, I get a simple answer, and it's actionable. So in this case, it's going to take some action on my behalf. It's going to say you're eligible as of May 1. I can select which item I want. It gives me some choices. In this case, I happen to be an AT&T. I'm going to max out my data plan. It's going to go ahead and even recommend my address. Pretty convenient. Yeah, that was a good experience. So there's a ticket being tracked. This is just going to be delivered to my office address. So yeah, you know what? That's a pretty darn good experience. I was just able to order a phone. Very little information provided. Better than a traditional service catalog. Conversational, intelligent. It gets smarter over time. It knows who I am. It knows the kinds of things I ask for. It knows the assets I own. It knows what building I'm in. Pretty smart. So let's test out something else. Let's say it's late in the pandemic, and I got kids and dogs barking at me on my Zooms, and I'm ready to go back to the office. When am I allowed to go back to the office? Let's see if it. So another one. So here's a good answer. It knows where I am. Here's the list of offices, when they're going to open, every 2 weeks for the next 6 weeks. So great. Thank you, virtual agent. I give it some feedback. It's going to now learn from the feedback I've given it. Ask another one. So this is, again, kind of a typical, probably more of an HR kind of question than an IT question, but I can use acronyms, just natural language. So I want to know if I can expense that monitor I just bought. So this is good. So go through that. I can see exactly what I can expense, what I can't. So spot on, very, very easy to interact with that. Now, as you are all familiar with, I'm sure a big chunk of the volume of support desk calls relate to ticket management. So one of the nice things I can do is have the virtual agent walk me through the status of any of my open tickets, show me comments, help me know who's working a ticket, when it's going to be resolved. Just something kind of open-ended, kind of ambiguous. It detects it. So in this case, that was an easy one. So virtual agent autonomously. I guarantee no wizard behind the curtains here. This is a live NLP-driven example of virtual agent deflecting common calls.
Dan, I know you weren't expecting me to break in and ask you a question. So, hopefully your virtual agent can take this curveball. But I know one of the things you love to say is AI is the new UI. And, as you're going through this demo, it's pretty stark contrast that that's the case. I mean, you're not interacting with that really snazzy portal behind that chatbot, right? You are actually, working and getting resolutions to your common questions, all within that screen. And I think that's a really important thing to think about as we look at more modern work experiences. The great portal is great, but it's really just functioning as a background here to your foreground, which is a digital conversation with your AI. And I think that's a really important thing to think about as we're looking at kind of futures of experiences.
This is the experience that I want as an employee. It's multimodal. You've heard me also say voice is the new app, AI is the new UI. This is what employees expect. And anything short of this level of service will be seen as, kind of a setback. We've gone through some examples, service catalogs, various kinds of things. We can also generate tickets. There are times when the virtual agent won't know the right answer. And so it might come back and just say, what, I'm not sure that I have the best answer, but can I just hand you off with context to a live agent? So let's say, I'm not sure if this is something the virtual agent knows, but, I didn't happen to know if, this is more of a SecOps kind of a question, obviously bleeds into IT. If it's something that the virtual agent understands, it'll come back with an answer like you've seen. If not, no one's worse off. In this case, I'll create a ticket for you to, don't have the best answer. I'm going to go ahead and say, create a ticket. It's going to take the question I asked as I asked it. We'll go ahead and create that ticket. We can now shift personas and look at that ticket from the perspective of how that's being handed off to a live agent. I'll show you one more example, and then we'll go over and switch personas to the live agent. Something that you might want to do is the old password reset. So wouldn't it be nice if I could use a virtual agent to autonomously deflect all of the the high volume? Oftentimes in a service desk, about a third of calls are just related to identity and access management. So let's say, in this case, again, picks it up. That's pretty logical answer. It says, I think, the password, I didn't specify what password or what system, but it says, looks like you're locked out of SSO, just so that you can see an example of where the virtual agent is interacting with me. It's actionable. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but that's probably not through the beauty of virtual backgrounds, but that's the actual email I just got with a reset flow. So in a matter of 30 seconds, no ticket, no call to the help desk, and I'm able to reset my password. Pretty good experience for the employee.
So Dan, it took the time to understand where you were locked out of, one of the many different passwords that you had, and presented you that as the first option.
That's what it did. It determined that it was my SSO password. We happen to use Okta for SSO. There's a tight integration between PeopleReign and Okta. Immediately, I got the real Okta reset email on my real phone, and off I go. I'm able to click the button on the email and get my access restored. Much better experience than anything I would have had in the past.
What do you think is achievable from a call deflection standpoint? I mean, I'm sure one of the things that somebody watching the demo is going, yeah, but I have some automation here, I have some automation there. What is PeopleReign's and your experience been on call deflection? I know from the few use cases we've gone through, it's pretty significant incremental gains there. And this kind of context, I think, really helps that. You mind kind of riffing on that for a minute?
Yeah, we benchmark at 65%, and we try to help customers achieve that in 2 quarters, 6 months. Your mileage may vary. So part of what we do, and I kind of share this up front, is it's partly technology and it's partly strategy and it's partly business process. So we try to make sure that as part of our 3-step deployment plan, we understand what it's going to take culturally to achieve those kind of benefits. But in terms of the value that we like to be able to deliver, we tend to speculate about 1 month per app. We have 4 apps. But when it comes to the virtual agent on autonomous call deflection, we look for a target of 65% by doing an analysis of historical data and looking at what are the best candidates for autonomous call deflection. Sometimes we're able to exceed that in 2 quarters, or sometimes it takes a little longer, but those are the kinds of gains that are typical. Now, in this case, in the interest of time, I want to show a few other things. I'll sign off with the virtual agent. Do I need anything else? All set. Again, it recognizes that, okay, in this case, it's being cute with us. It comes back with a little bonus fact. I didn't in fact know this, that Hawaii is moving closer to Alaska, but the virtual agent does kind of develop a personality. It will respond with videos, facts, things like that. And, again, builds that relationship with the employee. So now, let's see, I did in fact submit that incident. I wanted to go ahead and show what that incident looks like when there's a live handoff made to an agent. In this case, we see a traditional incident, but it's enriched by a lot of intelligence from PeopleReign. In this case, we see PeopleReign classify pops up and says, I've already set the correct subcategory, and I've identified, in this case, that was that McAfee antivirus request. I've identified 3 concepts from a domain ontology that relate to this request. I can run workflow off of these concepts. This request relates to McAfee, it relates to software updates, it relates to Macintosh. We see this issue is being monitored. So all of these fields are being monitored for accuracy by PeopleReign. We scroll down in the ticket, we see PeopleReign recommend embedded right in the context of the ticket. So this is actually going to tell me the next best action to take. You take essentially your most novice agent in the call center and you make them an expert. Because what I'm doing is essentially I'm telling them what to do. So in this case, need to update McAfee antivirus. Whether or not the agent is an expert, the live agent is an expert, they come in here and with a high degree of confidence, PeopleReign says, you know what, this is probably the answer. It pulls it from a knowledge graph. So this particular document came from, this looks like it came from the public web. So this came from McAfee documentation, but it could have come from ServiceNow knowledge or SharePoint or email transcripts. PeopleReign is going to take responsibility for finding the best answer wherever it is, extracting it into something that's human readable and actionable. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and read up on the few recommendations. When I select the most appropriate solution to this problem, I'm going to click the digital pin. I can click multiple digital pins if multiple answers solve the problem. And it's going to retrain the machine learning model. PeopleReign is going to get continuously smarter. The live agent's going to get continuously smarter. MTTR is going to continuously go down. This was a live handoff from the virtual agent to a live agent. That's the future work. All I know as an employee is that antivirus settings on my Mac just got updated in record time. I'm happy. I'm more productive. I get it out of the office an hour earlier. Now, on the back end, I mentioned 3 personas. The third persona is the manager. And in this case, we're going to log into the PeopleReign administration console, and we're going to learn a ton, and we're going to access our data science workbench. So without having to get a data science degree, I can now manage how the virtual agent interacts with employees, how classify recommends or routes information, how recommend manages that knowledge base, and I can do it all with clicks, no code required, all tightly integrated with ServiceNow. So in this case, I get a summary of some, you see these kind of spark lines summarizing recent trends with regard to information used by the virtual agent, by classified, by recommend. If I look at let's go ahead and pick a task here. This is a summary of precision and coverage, so how my classify models are performing. I can look at things like, let's go ahead and take a look at recommend. We'll pick a task. We will pick a source. And we see it looks like our coverage has dipped a bit. So coverage being how broad is the set of sources of data that the virtual agent can use, or that recommend in this case can use to answer questions, and precision is the accuracy. So when I make a recommendation, how often do I make a recommendation, and when I do, how accurate is it? But I can also go down and see where are the gaps in my knowledge. So I can look at specifically which of those documents that recommend the knowledge graph have been recommending, what's getting thumbs up and what's getting thumbs down. And I can see how the model is continuously improving its accuracy. I can also see where there are questions that are being asked where the knowledge graph isn't confident enough to make a recommendation. And that's what we call the knowledge gap. And that gives the knowledge management team or even the service owner an opportunity to go and author better knowledge. Now, I also have my workbench here. And in the workbench, I can go ahead and see at a glance everything that the virtual agent has been doing. So for example, I can go ahead and review utterances. And this is literally a full transcription of everything that any employee globally has been asked about. You see, I recently asked about our work from home reimbursement policy. I can ask what the virtual agent can do, et cetera. And the benefit of this is that if at any point in time the virtual agent is not providing the best answer, I can come in here and add snippets. I can make sure that each utterance is mapped to the appropriate snippet. So no code, very straightforward, whether I'm the end user getting better experience, I'm the live agent reducing MTTR and delivering a better service experience to my employees, or I'm a service owner automating the delivery of all of these service requests. I'm able to take the benefits of AI, but improve the life of my employees, deliver a better service experience, and really make sure that we're taking, like I said, the best of machine learning, augmenting it with the best of human intelligence, and delivering one uniform, cohesive, AI-driven automation experience that benefits the whole organization. Now, I know we said we'd wrap up with a few minutes of Q&A. I see a lot of questions streaming in. I'm going to do my best. I'll go ahead and bring this slide back up. And I'm going to do my best to get to a few questions, then we'll get you out of here. If we don't get a chance to answer your question on the live webcast, we've got a large team waiting to follow up with you. I'm going to just peel these off the queue. Please keep your questions coming. Thank you. I see a lot of good questions. First question we just received is about how is the PeopleReign solution priced? Thanks to a good partner, Thirdera, you've got a channel that we'll be able to deliver advisory services as well as PeopleReign subscriptions. So without talking about specific numbers, I can talk about the general concept. So PeopleReign is priced based on, you get the entire AI platform, you get an entitlement to some number of recommendations. You can think of the recommendations kind of like minutes in your cell phone plan. You only pay for value. You only pay for the number of recommendations that you think you'll need. Every time the virtual agent or classify or recommend automates the resolution of an employee service request, it essentially decrements a minute or a token from the bucket of recommendations. So the pricing model is intended to be transparent, it's predictable, it's aligned with value. For specific details, happy to discuss more offline. Let's see, second question, good question. So I'm familiar with some of the ServiceNow AI capabilities. How is PeopleReign different? So unlike what you get from a workflow platform like ServiceNow, PeopleReign is a dedicated AI platform. So I mentioned we wrap a layer of intelligence horizontally across any business process. So however you're using ServiceNow, you're essentially infusing a layer of intelligence across everything you're doing. Now, one of the big benefits of PeopleReign is it automates the learning management process. So all of these models that I've shown you, all of the answers, the snippets, the recommendations, the predictions, all of that process of delivering the best answer, it's semi-automated. So when you see the fluency of the natural language processing, the natural language understanding, that's because an AI platform is just designed to do that. It does one thing, it does it exceptionally well. There's a lot about workflow, orchestration, form building, process design that you really want to get. You're going to want to get from your workflow engine. That's ServiceNow. But when it comes to wrapping a layer of intelligence, understanding domain ontologies, understanding knowledge gaps, delivering value across the whole spectrum, being able to go and build that knowledge graph, being able to publish new domain concepts, whether they're IT related, HR related, et cetera. All of that kind of intelligence that goes into automating any process living in ServiceNow, that's PeopleReign. Very tight integration, accessible, I mentioned in context of Jason's question, through voice, through email, through live chat, through Slack, through Teams. So multimodal, gets smarter over time, and adds a layer of intelligence on top of the kinds of workflows that are already automated in ServiceNow.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of the things that was really helpful for me when you were helping to educate me on some of these futures of was this notion of narrow AI versus general AI. And I think, that's an important designation, is just something that is a mile deep and an inch wide versus a mile wide and an inch deep. And the mile wide and the inch deep AI tend to get most of the press, but the narrow AI is what we're talking about here. And those are the things that are doing real impactful things and bringing real value. And I mention it just because it really, as we were going through our conversations, really clarified that in my own mind about where I should be focusing in on these emerging technologies.
Now, Jason, I'm going to hand off this last one to you. A couple questions related to this, but the theme is, where can I learn more?
Yeah. So listen, scan the QR code, reach out to any of us at PeopleReign or Thirdera. We're here to help educate you, inform you, and help to make these types of endeavors practical and right-sized and value-based and time-based. You should be thinking about, how am I going to augment my humans with technology? 10 years ago, it would have seemed crazy to think of cars that could assist in driving out on the road, doing that every day. And literally, there are hundreds of millions of miles clocked in these technologies today. Our most routine tasks, these technologies do an extremely good job of assisting the humans, bringing many different disparate sources of information together, and providing a more cohesive experience. One of the things that Dan didn't mention is ticket accuracy goes up as well. So you get better data, you get better information, through your AI cycle. You really end up setting up this virtuous cycle where you're just always continually improving, and the agents are helping you do that, right? So I would challenge y'all to think about those opportunities out there and understand that they're accessible. They are not, this isn't sci-fi 3000 here. This is something that you can actually practically have a discussion about. You can find small incremental ways of bringing these technologies into your environment that will deliver very large values. And in some cases, they may be places where you've been incrementally automating or trying to derive value over, a decade. Call centers have been trying to reduce call service time, improve resolution rates, MTTR, call deflect, all those things have been going on forever. There haven't really been a lot of revolutionary technologies there. You heard Dan talk about, 60+% call deflection, and those are in organizations that are already deflecting calls as well. So I would just challenge you all to reach out, to think about those areas. There's an opportunity with PeopleReign as well to learn more. They have a great series of classes to help people get more foundational in these technologies, understand where they may be better placed. We can help you learn, and we can help you rationalize, and we certainly want to help you deploy.
Jason, thanks for being a part of today's webcast. We didn't get to a lot of your questions, and for that we apologize, but we will follow up. We've got a full transcript of everything you've been asking. Thank you for joining. We are eager to be a part of your journey. We're eager to help you understand the future of work. This is our life's passion. This is all we do. Couldn't be more excited than to help you realize what the future of work looks like. Thank you very much.